Turning back to the big news of the morning, the unemployment rate falls to 8.3%. It's the lowest in almost 3 years. Mark Zandi is always the guy we turn to on jobs days. He's the chief economist for Moody's Analytics. Mark, anything in here that this seemed across the board good? Anything in here that has you that you think is a warning sign? Talk about the long-term unemployment, but take it away. What do you see?
Nothing. I mean, usually you get a lot of cross currents in these jobs data, something good, something bad, something for everybody. But this was unambiguously positive. Big job gains, big decline in unemployment. The job gains were broad-based across lots of industries. The number of hours people are working increased, hourly earnings increased. I mean, it was really excellent news. It shows that the job market is definitively gaining traction.
You know, there was some speculation over the last couple of months that as, frankly, the public's perception of the economy improved, and we've seen that in polling, that you would see some of the long-term, the folks that, quote, took themselves out of the job market, go back in, and that actually would end up increasing the unemployment rate. What's going on here? Are people not going back in to this? Is this an issue where more of these folks are trying to start their own small businesses? What accounts for that?
Yeah, good question. In January, labor force did increase, but you're right. If you look over the past several years, there's been no labor force growth at all. And I think what may be happening is that because we have such a high rate of unemployment, wage growth is very weak. It's barely keeping pace with inflation. So a lot of people who are kind of on the margin of the labor force are deciding, well, maybe it's not a good time to go back in. I'm not going to get a job that pays enough to cover all my expenses, gasoline costs, childcare, that kind of thing. So it's not going to be until unemployment comes down even further, we get a little bit of wage growth, that those people will start coming in. So that may explain it. But there are a lot of things going on that I think are making it very difficult to determine where labor force is going and where it is now.
You talked about number of hours worked and wage growth. These are I assume, the two numbers you look at to see, is this going to snowball? And over the past 5 months, it seems that every month there was a little bit of increase, particularly in the number of hours worked. Do you anticipate that this is just going to keep going at this point?
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's not going to be a straight line, obviously. There's going to be ebbs and flows. We still have problems to deal with. Europe is still an issue, foreclosure crisis. We have our own fiscal policy decisions we have to make with regard to the payroll tax and UI and what to do about the Bush-era tax cuts. So there's a lot of hurdles to get over. But yes, I think it feels like to me that businesses are starting to engage. You know, they're very profitable. Their balance sheets are strong. It feels like they're starting to decide, you know, it's time to go, and a light switch is going on. So, you know, every month isn't going to be like this one. We're going to have some tough months ahead. But in general, yes, we're moving in the right direction.
A colleague of mine tweeted about something you said at the Online Publishers Conference earlier this week. You indicated that if there was no change in where we are in the economy, unemployment rate, et cetera, if they stay exactly the same, don't improve and don't get worse, that you thought it was a condition that meant the president gets reelected. Is that a fair assessment of that takeaway? It was based on a tweet, so that's why I wanted to ask you the full context.
Wow, Chuck. I mean, I can't hide, right? No matter where I am, you're going to find out. My sense is that if we create 150, 200K per month, the unemployment rate is roughly where it is today, somewhere between 8 and 8.5%. Then I think odds are that that favors the incumbent's reelection. That favors the president. You know, it's very close. It's going to boil down to individual states because, you know, This is an electoral college. It may even boil down to a metropolitan area in the state of Florida, like Miami. But yeah, I think odds are the president would win reelection under those circumstances.
All right, Mark Zandi of Moody's Analytics. I always appreciate that you make time for me on these monthly Jobs Fridays. Thank you, sir. All right.